Good afternoon. This is the House Appropriations Committee. It is Tuesday, April 1st, no joke, 2025. And it's just after 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And we're just doing a quick check-in. Hope everybody had a relaxing weekend and the budget is out of the House and on to the Senate. So thank you everybody for your help. Just wanted to talk a little bit about the schedule for the week. We don't have a lot on the calendar right now, but we hope to have some things on there. We've asked to see Sarah Clark, the Secretary of Administration, and Jenny Samuelson. We'd love to have them come in and talk about the impacts of budget adjustments, since that doesn't seem to be going anywhere. And there were some things that were going to happen, I think, as of April 1st, GA housing program aside, but just other payments and things like that. So we just want to check in about what is happening with all of that. And then the other big thing is the education bill, which came out of House Ed on Friday afternoon. It is now in House Ways and Means. They're going to vote it out on Friday. It's going to be on notice on Tuesday, and it's going to come to our committee on Tuesday. And they want us to turn it around the same day. So what I'm working on having happen is having people from Ledge Council and JFO come in one day to talk to us about the policy piece, because that's sort of done right now. And then on Friday, I'm hoping to get people to talk about whatever the update is on the education funding piece. The challenge is that all of those people are in House Ways and Means all week. So we have to negotiate with House Ways and Means how to get them here to talk to us, because I don't want us to just see it and 15 minutes later try to vote on it.
Yeah, we can't do that.
Okay. So but on the other hand, it's a 52-page bill, age 454. So there's no reason you can't go ahead and read it. I think there have been some one-pagers maybe sent out and some talking points. So start looking at it now anyway. You don't want to just go into it entirely cold. So we're going to have to be flexible on what is happening with that. I just don't know. As soon as I can get something negotiated, I'll keep you all posted, but that's going to be sort of the big thing. In terms of bills, we recommitted the last bill that we were going to be doing any work on back to GovOps. So we don't, and we'll start to get things again for that come to the Senate and other committees, but not looking like that's going to happen this week. And then the other thing, just to let you know, is that JFO is helping us try to work on sort of a framework for how to track and think about the Fed funds disasters that keep befalling us. I just was reading something today about another piece, and now we just learned that the FMAP may be going down, and all of those things. So when I talked to Emily Byrne this morning, she said she's trying to work on a spreadsheet that we can use for asking questions. So my hope is that we'll be able to get some agency secretaries in and other key folks to talk about what they're seeing now that we're further along, and figure out, how they're looking at it, and so how we can look at it, because we just have no idea what's going to be happening. And it could be, the middle of May or end of May or early June. And so we're going to have to be reactive, because we don't know what's going to happen, but we want to, as much information as we can gather along the way, the more we can be nimbly reactive instead of, we were caught flat-footed kind of reactive, which doesn't really help things. I was chatting with a former member of this committee, Kimberly Jessup, who was on this committee when COVID hit, and they were 98% of the way through their budget, and we locked down on that Friday, March 13th. They had to rip out the budget and start all over again. They did 4 budgets that year. I hope we will not be in that position. Several of them are a quarter or 6 months long. Dave was on that committee at the time.
It's horrible.
Yeah. So we hope not to repeat that, but if we know.
I remember the week before, we just come back from town meeting and everybody kept saying, why don't they just get us the budget, we can go home.
Yeah.
Little did we know.
Yes, I know. And then when we were leaving, we thought, we'll be back in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Once this all comes down, right? So there was a lot that we did.
Never came back.
So that's what I have for an update. Our vice chair has some information he'd like to impart.
Yeah, so we have, as all of you are aware, we get a variety of different reports that actually the legislature typically asks for. And we do have a number posted on our webpage under reports. And I just like to Everyone obviously is welcome to read all of them, but I wanted to just highlight the ones we have posted so far and whose area of responsibility I think they are. You're probably going to hear me say TIF more than once. Personal Department of Children and Families, it's the operational cost of residential treatment for youth report. I believe that's TIF. There is one on the Act 13 February 28 housing report, again, TIF. There's the Act 113 January 31 housing report, TIF. There is a performance indicators for the Vermont Weatherization Assistance Program, again, TIF. Department of Buildings and General Services, made me think, Wayne, however, this is emergency involuntary procedures at River Valley Therapeutic Residence. So that's probably TIF.
You're all welcome to read these reports. You don't have to do it alone.
If you want to help her out.
Yeah.
Looking at these.
I thought it was gonna be a gym one.
Department of Health. Again, I'm thinking Lynn, however, it says substance abuse prevention oversight with advisory council annual report 2025. Probably TIF. And then just to change it up a little bit, we have the Department of Taxes, 2025 tax expenditure report. I think that is Mike's.
No, that's tax expenditures with related to housing.
You're right. Good point.
Actually, that's a really good report. You should all read that to see what we're foregoing in taxes. Yeah.
And then lastly, we have VSAC. It's not a little clear. I know VSAC is John's area. It's the Vermont National Guard Tuition Benefit Program annual report. So probably John and Wayne.
Not to be confused
Wayne
with
has,
John Wayne.
Wayne has John Wayne. Wow, that sounds familiar.
It's like Lyndon Johnson.
Yeah. John has military, right?
Yes. Wayne
Wayne has it.
the other John. Oh, now we're in the bucket. You got Aaron right, but you didn't get.
Well, we should probably have a sheet with everyone's photo on it, headshot underneath on his desk.
Yeah, we could do
We
that.
could do that.
Yeah.
That was my.
Thank you,
All
Jim.
right, that's
Okay,
all we had, right?
Okay.
Aaron? Yes.
okay. Any other on-camera things, Dave?
I just wanted to share regarding the federal situation.
Yeah.
On Face the Nation Sunday,
Uh-huh.
the chair of the House Budget Writing Committee was asked some rather pointed questions about Medicaid.
Uh-huh.
And he made the point that Medicaid is set to grow 5.2% a year for the next 10 years. How in his estimation, that was not sustainable. But to be clear, all they were working on was to reduce the rate of growth of Medicaid. So I said, boy, if that's accurate, I said, that's always hard, but I said, that's a lot better than what I thought. But he mentioned the $800 billion reduction over 10 years they're trying to achieve, but it was all in the rate of growth. Anyways, it was,
We'll see. And that's supposed
It
to.
was
go
live
tax-
TV
tax
for what it's
rates
worth.
Rich, so yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
Okay.
who
Just,
knows?
and just
That's good to know that.
the government, another government thing, the folks at Food Bank let me know that there was another cut in the federal funding for buying food contracts. So it represents about 20% of, they buy federal money, they buy federal product, it's about 20% of their budget. So about 20% of that budget has been cut. So that's overall figured out what a 4 or 5% cut in federal funding for buying food for Vermonters. On top of the other things that have come in.
Have come already, John.
And we all got an email last week with a link to JFO, the new live
Yes.
webpage saying they're posting things there. So there was nothing under transportation, but
Yeah.
there is now.
Yeah, yes.
And it's just really kind of like with their presentation to us, where they list, these are all the federal, monies secured.
Right.
Here are the things at risk. So it's just FYI information here for us.
They get.
Check that periodically as they add to it.
And yes, I would. And if you're interested, because our legislature subscribes to FFIS, which is the federal funds, whatever, I forget what it stands for.
Information service.
Information Service. Thank you, Maria. You can call them and you will get their emails. So I've been getting their email. I know some of us have been getting them for a while, but it doesn't cost you anything because the legislature has a subscription. They can just add you to the email list. So for example, today I got a couple of things. JFO gets it. So I'm sure Catherine's probably using that to update that website.
Yeah,
But
I think so.
there was some stuff from the Department of Education that the letter was dated March 28th and they canceled some stuff as of that day. They said, if you still have money out, you've taken too long anyway, so we're taking it back. That was the gist of the letter. And then we got this, there was also 5 grants in Vermont that they've pulled back through Health and Human Services that we know of and some other things. So
$5,000?
5 grants.
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm gonna say.
Yeah, it was,
Grand.
yeah,
Sorry.
that would be, if that's all it ever was, we'd be in good shape. But that was not the case. They were varying amounts. They showed the amount of the total original grant, how much has been spent and how much is left that they're clawing back. And, in some cases, it might be 300,000 on a $35 million grant, which is, in the scheme of things, not too bad. But when it's more than 50% of a grant that just started, then that's a whole different story. So we'll be hearing more about that. So I think you're right, John. Checking that website is a good idea.
And there's stuff that they added like at the end of last week that continued into like yesterday.
Yeah. Yeah, that could be a full-time job. So, all right, well, why don't we go off live?